Good evening again. Jay Cleveland Payne here with another list of 8 things that I learned over the past week. This is the week ending the 9th of January, dated yesterday. Of course, I always record this on the day after the Sunday. Today is the 10th. These are 8 life lessons that I personally learned over the past 7 days. Things that were more or less, a lot of them more or less reinforce things, but just kind of 8 things to kind of map out how my week ended. Number one is a big one, and number one is the fact that I am an idiot. And with a 14-year-old stepson, I'm starting to get a serious dose of the same medicine that I was dishing out to my dad 20 years ago, basically at the same age as he is now. And it's a pretty bitter-tasting medication that I've been prescribed lately. Number two, though, helps out because number two states, I know more than I know. And even if my kid doesn't think I know anything, I'm learning day by day just how wrong he actually is and just how wrong I was about my own dad 20 years ago. The answers to questions that you don't even know will be asked are just ready to come around at any moment. This is a true statement of you already know the answers. Number three, everyone has to face a moment of doubt. 2 weeks into the new year, I'm in a very different position than I was in this time last year. A very hard place this year. Last year going in with a whole lot more prosperity on the up end and a lot more things to shoot for. This year, a lot of things to shoot for, but not exactly in position to grab them as quickly as I was last year. But I'm not the first person to have to face insurmountable odds, and I wouldn't be the first person to end up failing or succeeding in that matter and actually getting past them. Hearing some stories over the past week, reading some stories from some people, some very famous people who I look up to and how they had to overcome so many hard times and times of trouble, is helping me out in getting things lined up for myself in this year. Number four, the 8 things learned this week. Many of those people do find a way through, but not all. And this one really struck me as pretty hard because in some of the stories I ended up reading over the week and some of the stories I ended up hearing about over the week, listening to, there were a few failures from people who didn't quite make a great finish when it was all said and done. And that is very troubling, knowing that, maybe after all the hard work and effort I put into this thing, it just might not happen and I just might not make it. But that's not a reason to give up. I'm far from finished at this point, and we'll see just how close I get to that happy ending. Number 5 states that there are not enough hours in a day. And I know that last week I was talking about having enough time to get done, which is even important to get done. An example of watching 3 hours of primetime television is more important than reading. You'll always find time for television, and you'll never find much time for reading. Well, I don't even have enough time for reading or for television. For writing, there's just not enough waking, conscious, coherent, or creative time in the day to get everything done. That means a lot of sacrifices that I have not been too thrilled about in the past 2 weeks of this year, past couple of months in general. Number 6, 2010 is off to a great start. Now, let me caveat that 2010 is my program I have for it's a goals program basically for getting your goals set and getting yourself on to having a great year. It's not very details up there. It's not very comprehensive. It's not very difficult. It's not a lot of big details. It's a couple of sheets, a couple of things you go over with yourself and just kind of make a basics of a goal setting. If you want to check it out, go to the link right here in the blog post for the starter sheet, and more sheets and available information will be coming down soon. In fact, we're going to be listing a lot more of these programs, the program itself, in the You Already Have the Answers website throughout the week, starting with the goal sheet, which is an easy, simple tool. Number 7, you might need some help. And if the guidance I'm giving you in my program, the 2010 is your year, is not enough, you want something a bit more comprehensive or maybe a different perspective, trust me, I understand that. I'm offering up the services of 3 of my personal coaches. Each of them has their own perspective on things, their own way of teaching stuff, their own way of seeing things. and you should get to know them and try a couple of them, see if one of them is the right fit for you. They each have websites and businesses that deal with coaching and motivation. First one is J.B. Glossinger. His is morningcoach.com. Scott Smith at motivationtomove.com, and Devlin Steele at toolslife.com. The first two have some free features, but the meat of the stuff comes with a fee, and it's not very much. The Coach Steele one for Tools for Life is mostly free for the Tools of Life program, the basic program, and currently a personal freedom revolution going on for 2010, but various other programs which do have very cost to them. Very inexpensive. They're done online. You can, in some cases, you can get one-on-one coaching with these guys. So check it out. And number 8, final one for this week. This was the hardest list to put out to date. As stated earlier before, there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done, or in some cases anything done. And because I made the time and put forth the effort to do this, even if it was those very last thing I felt like doing today, it came out. I came up with the concept for 8 things to talk about. I came up with the concept for 8 things I learned this week because I figured it'd do some good. So I had to man up and get it done, and now it's done. So I have completed my obligation, my 8 things I learned over the past week here for life. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, and hopefully a much more vibrant, much more happier list for next week. A lot of things going on. It's been a pretty trying, troubling week. You'll probably see a couple of posts on what's going on there as I'm hopefully launching my new actual personal blog, so I can get some personal back and forth lessons to you. But in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning into these videos. If you enjoy them, or maybe if you not, please take a little time to rate the video so that I get a little help out of that. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week with 8 more things that I learned.